Have you ever found yourself wondering, is God truly with me? In the quiet moments of doubt, in the chaos of life's challenges, or even in the moments of stillness, you may question His presence. But what if I told you there are signs, clear, unmistakable signs, that God is closer to you than you realize? These signs aren't always grand or obvious. Sometimes they come as whispers, gentle nudges, or profound shifts in your heart. Today, we'll explore the 7 divine signals that God is with you, walking alongside you through every high and low. By the end of this, you'll feel reassured, renewed, and reminded of His unshakable presence in your life. Stay with us as we uncover these transformative signs. Have you ever had a moment where life felt as though it was whispering something deeper, something beyond the surface? Maybe you noticed a pattern of events or experienced an unshakable feeling that someone, somewhere, was trying to reach you. These moments can feel profound, yet we often brush them aside, caught up in the noise of our daily lives. But what if those whispers, those signs, are God's way of trying to communicate with you? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to miss the gentle ways God speaks to us. He doesn't always use thunderclaps or parting seas. More often than not, His voice comes in the quiet, the unexpected, and the deeply personal. Whether it's a recurring dream, a verse that keeps appearing, or even a challenge that forces you to pause and reflect, God has countless ways of reaching out to His children. This is not about religion or doctrine, it's about connection. It's about those intimate moments when you sense there's something greater guiding you, urging you to listen. Recognizing these signs can feel like unlocking a secret door to clarity, peace, and direction in your life. God wants to talk to you, not because you're perfect or have everything figured out, but because He loves you and wants to walk with you through every step of your journey. We'll explore 7 powerful signs that God is trying to get your attention. These signs are not random. They're intentional, filled with meaning, and unique to your life's circumstances. By understanding them, you'll not only recognize His voice but also deepen your faith and sense of purpose. So, if you've been feeling lost, unsure, or simply curious about what God might be trying to tell you, stay with us. Let's uncover the ways He communicates and learn how to open our hearts to His presence. After all, when God speaks, it's always for a reason, and it's always for your good. When storms rage in your life, whether through personal loss, betrayal, or uncertainty, yet you find a calmness within, it's no coincidence. This peace, which surpasses human understanding, is a profound sign that God is near. It's not just your own resilience, it's His hand steadying your heart, His Spirit quieting the noise. Peace doesn't mean the absence of problems, it means finding stillness in the middle of them. You might lose a job but still feel hopeful. You might face rejection but remain unshaken. This peace is a divine gift, one that reminds you God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events for your good. Sometimes, this peace feels so subtle that it's easy to overlook. But pay attention. It's that calm voice that reassures you to trust, to wait, and to let go of fear. It's God's way of saying, I am here. You are safe. Peace also transforms how you view your challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as insurmountable, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. This mindset shift isn't from you alone. It's a sign that God is actively shaping your spirit. Many people testify to moments when they should have been overwhelmed, yet they weren't. Whether it's before a difficult exam, a critical medical diagnosis, or a tough conversation, they felt inexplicably calm. That calmness is God's presence anchoring them. The key is to cultivate awareness. When you feel this peace, pause and thank God for His presence. Recognize that He is not only walking with you but also preparing a path through the storm. Trust this peace. It's proof that God hasn't left your side. Have you ever been at a crossroads, unsure of what to do, when suddenly the answer becomes clear? This guidance, whether through a friend's advice, a passage in a book, or a seemingly random thought, is a sign of God's active involvement in your life. God often speaks through circumstances. A door might close, only for a better one to open. Or you might encounter a person who helps you in ways you never anticipated. These moments are not mere coincidences. They are God's way of directing your steps. Sometimes, His guidance comes through intuition, a gut feeling that nudges you in the right direction. It might tell you to reach out to someone, avoid a risky decision, or take a leap of faith. Trusting these nudges is key to recognizing God's hand in your life. God's guidance isn't always immediate. There are times of waiting, times when it feels like no answer is coming. But even in the silence, He is working. The guidance may come at the perfect moment, in ways you could never have imagined. Pay attention to patterns in your life. Are certain themes or messages repeatedly showing up? This could be God pointing you toward a specific path. He often uses repetition to make His will clear, ensuring you don't miss the message. Prayer is a powerful tool for seeking guidance. When you pray, you invite God to reveal His plans. And while the answers may not always come in the way you expect, they will come in the way you need. God's guidance brings clarity, even in confusion. Trust that He sees the bigger picture and is leading you toward what aligns with your purpose. His timing and methods are perfect, even when they don't align with your expectations. Have you ever narrowly avoided a disaster? Maybe you missed a flight, only to learn later that it had mechanical issues. Or perhaps you took a different route home and avoided an accident. These moments of protection are not luck, they are God's watchful care. God's protection is often invisible. You may never know the full extent of the dangers He has shielded you from. But rest assured, His angels are constantly guarding you, ensuring that His plans for your life are fulfilled. Sometimes, God's protection feels like rejection. A relationship might end, a job opportunity might fall through, or a long-held dream might crumble. But what feels like loss is often God's way of redirecting you away from harm. Scripture reminds us that God goes before us, preparing the way. He knows the challenges ahead and takes steps to shield us. This protection doesn't mean you'll never face hardship, but it does mean that nothing can harm you outside of His will. One of the most profound ways God protects us is by equipping us with wisdom. He places discernment in our hearts, helping us make choices that safeguard our well-being. This wisdom is a gift, a constant reminder of His loving presence. God's protection is also a call to trust. When things don't go as planned, remember that His ways are higher than ours. He sees what we cannot, and His plans are always for our good, even when they're hard to understand. Thank God daily for His protection, even when you don't see it. Trust that He is working tirelessly to keep you safe, guiding you away from harm and toward His blessings. His protection is a sign of His unwavering love. There are times when life feels overwhelming, a whirlwind of responsibilities, challenges, and heartbreaks. Yet, even amidst the storm, if you experience a sense of inner calm that surpasses understanding, this is a profound sign that God is with you. His peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of tranquility in the middle of it. This peace is a gift from God, described in Philippians 4 verse 7 as the peace that surpasses all understanding. It's not something you can manufacture through positive thinking or meditation alone. It's divine, a supernatural assurance that whispers to your soul that all will be well. This peace may come when you least expect it, like a still, small voice reminding you of God's love when everything seems to be falling apart. Think of the biblical story of Jesus calming the storm while His disciples panicked. He didn't just calm the external storm, but also the internal fear within them. When you feel this peace, it's a reminder that God is in control, even when the waves are high. Sometimes, this peace will manifest as the strength to let go. You might stop wrestling with questions that have no immediate answers and surrender them to God. You'll find that the burden you once carried feels lighter, not because the situation has changed, but because you've invited God to carry it with you. Pay attention to how this peace transforms your outlook. Decisions that once seemed impossible become clear. Relationships strained by misunderstanding find healing. Doors that seemed closed open effortlessly because you are no longer striving on your own. Recognize this sign for what it is, an intimate, personal message from God to you. He is saying, "I've got you. Trust me." When you lean into that peace, you lean into His presence, knowing that you are never alone. Inner peace in chaos is not just a sign of God's presence but also a testament to your relationship with Him. When you nurture your faith, this peace becomes more accessible, a constant companion that steadies your heart in an unsteady world. It's easy to feel disheartened when opportunities slip through your fingers, but have you ever stopped to consider that a closed door might be God's way of guiding you towards something better? While the world teaches us to fight for every opportunity, God sometimes says no to protect you from what isn't meant for you. Closed doors are not punishments but divine redirections. They are signs that God sees the bigger picture and is moving you toward a path aligned with His plans for your life. Remember, a closed door today could save you from heartache tomorrow. When a door closes, it often brings discomfort and confusion. You might feel as if the universe is against you. But these moments are invitations to trust in God's sovereignty. He knows what lies ahead, and His no is just as important as His yes. Take the story of Joseph in the Bible. He faced countless closed doors, from being sold into slavery to being thrown into prison unjustly. Yet every closed door brought him closer to his destiny of becoming a leader in Egypt. Without those detours, he wouldn't have been prepared for his ultimate purpose. When you encounter a closed door, reflect on what God might be teaching you. Sometimes it's patience. Other times, it's resilience or a deeper trust in Him. When you encounter a closed door, reflect on what God might be teaching you. Sometimes it's patience. Other times, it's resilience or a deeper trust in Him. These moments refine your character and strengthen your faith. Closed doors often make room for new beginnings. They free up your time, energy, and heart for what truly matters. When one opportunity vanishes, another, better aligned with your purpose, takes its place. Trust that God is weaving a masterpiece, even if you can't see the full picture yet. View closed doors as blessings in disguise. They are reminders that God is actively working in your life, guiding you away from paths that would harm you and toward ones that will fulfill you. Trust in His timing and remain open to the opportunities He places before you. Sometimes, God's presence manifests as protection, often in ways we may never fully comprehend. Have you ever been delayed only to later discover that you avoided a serious accident? Or felt an inexplicable urge to change your plans, only to realize it saved you from harm? These are not coincidences. They are signs of God's protective hand over your life. God's protection isn't always dramatic. It can be subtle, like an inner nudge to avoid certain people or situations. He may remove toxic relationships, close doors to harmful opportunities, or shield you from dangers you weren't even aware of. This is His way of saying, "I am with you, watching over you." Think about Psalm 91 verse 4, which speaks of God covering you with His feathers and providing refuge under His wings. This imagery paints a picture of God as a loving parent, shielding His children from harm. His protection is both physical and spiritual, guarding your heart, mind, and soul. While you may not always understand why certain things happen or don't happen, trust that God's protection is always at work. Even setbacks and challenges can be forms of protection, steering you away from paths that would lead to greater pain or failure. God's protection also extends to your spiritual well-being. He strengthens you against temptations and equips you to face trials with courage. When you lean into His protection, you become more resilient, confident that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Reflect on the moments in your life when things didn't go as planned. Can you see how God's protection was at work? Perhaps you avoided a relationship that would have drained you or a job that wasn't aligned with your values. These moments are reminders that God is always looking out for you. Be grateful for His protection, even when it feels like an inconvenience. What seems like a detour could be a divine intervention, saving you from unseen dangers. Trust in His wisdom and rest in the assurance that He is your protector. When you recognize God's protective hand in your life, your faith deepens. You begin to see Him not as a distant figure but as an active presence, guiding and guarding you every step of the way. Let these moments of protection remind you of God's unwavering love. He is not only with you but also for you, ensuring that no harm will come to you that doesn't serve a greater purpose. One of the clearest signs that God is with you is when provision comes from unexpected places. Have you ever found yourself in need, only for help to arrive in the most surprising way? This is God's way of showing you that He is your provider, always aware of your needs and faithful to meet them. Provision doesn't always come in the form of material wealth. Sometimes it's a word of encouragement when you're feeling down, an opportunity that arrives at just the right time, or even the strength to endure a difficult season. These moments are reminders that God's resources are infinite and His timing perfect. Think of the story of Elijah in the Bible. When he was hiding in the wilderness, God sent ravens to bring him food. This miraculous provision wasn't just about meeting Elijah's physical needs. It was a testament to God's care and creativity in providing for His children. God's provision often teaches us to rely on Him rather than our own abilities. When help comes from unexpected sources, it's a reminder that He is in control, orchestrating every detail of your life. These moments challenge you to let go of worry and trust in His faithfulness. Reflect on the times in your life when you've received unexpected blessings. Maybe it was a financial breakthrough when you were struggling to make ends meet, a relationship that restored your hope, or an opportunity that changed the course of your life. These are not random events. They are signs of God's provision. Provision also comes in the form of people. God often uses others as instruments of His grace, sending friends, family, or even strangers to meet your needs. Be open to these blessings and recognize them as evidence of His presence in your life. When you trust in God's provision, you free yourself from the burden of trying to control everything. You learn to live with open hands, ready to receive what He has for you and to share it with others. This posture of trust deepens your relationship with Him and strengthens your faith. Let the signs of God's provision remind you of His love and care. No matter what you're going through, trust that He is with you, providing exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. Another powerful sign that God is with you is spiritual growth during times of hardship. It's easy to focus on how difficult trials can be, but God uses these very moments to refine us and make us more like Christ. If you found yourself growing stronger, wiser, and more compassionate through your challenges, that's a clear sign that God's presence is working in you. The Bible says in James 1 verses 2-4, "Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." These verses highlight how God uses hardship as a tool for spiritual maturation. It is in the fire of trial that our character is purified and our faith becomes unshakable. This growth often happens when we are pushed to our limits, facing situations that challenge our patience, humility, and trust in God. During such times, you may find yourself relying on prayer more than ever, seeking God's guidance and experiencing His comfort in ways you hadn't before. These are the moments when your relationship with God deepens, as you learn to rely on Him in new ways. Through every challenge, God is shaping you to be a better reflection of His love and grace. Whether you're navigating a health crisis, going through a financial struggle,